Naruto is a series that's deserving of the praises garnered from anime and manga fans, but saying it's without fault would be a huge lie. The gratuitous amounts of plot holes as well as its ending are two huge issues I have with the series, but I want to focus on its biggest flaw in my opinion, its underdeveloped and underutilized sidecast. Part of the problem is that characters without a dojutsu or some type of Kekkei Genkai were discarded by the story after the pain arc, with the exception of Might Guy and Sakura. Another reoccurring issue in Naruto is characters who had no direction or purpose in the story were put in positions to be constantly compared to characters with importance. And the third most critical issue with the characters is that they overstay their purpose in the story and don't do anything for the rest of it. The character that suffers most from underutilization and development is Tenten. She has less screen time than the flashback swing, everybody knows that. But she also has less screen time than Tauntaun. And if you don't know who that is, it's Tsunade's assistant, Shizune's pet pig. She got less time in the series than a supporting cast member's pet. What makes it worse is that she's the only one on her team to not have a spotlight moment. Lee has his fight with Gaara, Neji has his fight with Naruto and his 126 palms and his death, and Guy almost killed Ten-Tail's Madara. Tenten has a beating from Tamari and a fight with her clone, one of the worst fights in the series. She isn't remotely special aside from being memeable, and she doesn't get her own spotlight moment. She's just there. The next character is one that I just mentioned, Neji. Neji's fine in part 1 of Naruto. The issue comes in part 2 where he is inconsequential to anything that happens throughout it. And that can be said for a lot of characters. That can be said for one of the main characters. But I feel like you can really notice it with Neji, because he's such a cool character in part 1, and then in part 2 he doesn't show up really. The main reason why this is the case is because Neji was supposed to die in the Sasuke retrieval mission. And because of that he didn't have anything to do in part 2 of Naruto. He was not supposed to be there. The only thing of note that he does in part 2 is die to some splinters. If Neji was forced to stay around, he should have had something important to do. Working on his dream of fixing the Hyuga clan, and maybe even becoming the clan head himself. But there should have been something for him to do since he was still in the story. Since I've talked about the other two members, might as well say something about Lee. He should have had more moments to shine, especially since he's a better display of Naruto's themes of hard work and perseverance than the titular character who becomes a god by being gifted powers by another god. I wish he just got more moments, but there's hope for Boruto to do something with him, but I doubt it. And here's the big one, Sakura Haruno. She's strong and skilled and does almost nothing of substance with that skill and power. She has an annoying, underdeveloped personality and character arc, and is extremely underutilized compared to what she could have been in the story. While I personally don't hate this character, there is a reason why so many people do. She's poorly written and horribly handled throughout parts 1 and 2 of Naruto. Her most defining character trait is her obsession over Sasuke, someone who never gave her a reason to like her, much less love her, and attempted to kill her on several occasions. Despite having other characteristics and some nice combat showings like her and Chio's fight against Sasori, her obsession over Sasuke is what defines her character for so many fans. I think this is the case for 3 reasons. 1. Sakura's underdeveloped. I don't think anybody would disagree on that. She's not as annoying as she was in part 1, but she's far from likable for most people in part 2. The second reason, piggybacking off of that, is her lack of a real character arc, or at least one worth being invested in. And 3, her lack of accomplishments, especially for somebody with main character status, is depressing. It doesn't help that, due to her main character status, she gets compared to Naruto, Sasuke, and Kakashi, 3 characters who drive the story forward, while Sakura doesn't have that effect on the series. At least not in the same way that it's felt by the other 3. Her only big accomplishments in the story are healing Naruto and Sasuke a few times, which, that's a big one, cool, and defeating Sasori, a character that helped defeat Gaara, so, love that. She does nothing else. I do not count healing No Name Ninja as an accomplishment. I do not care. Overall, Sakura fits into this weird space where she's a main character with very few spotlight moments, and most of the ones that she does have are outshined by other people's moments or something else that's going on. She gets overlooked in the Kaguya fight because 1, she does almost nothing for most of it, and 2, she's a non-factor in terms of power scaling. She can't mess with 6 paths level characters, but she gets a solid hit in on Kaguya to keep her from teleporting away, and she is able to evade an attack from Kaguya. But then you look to the left and you see Naruto in his shiny new Kurama cloak, or Sasuke with his new 6-tome Rinnegan. Or you look up and see Kakashi in a blue Gundam. Then you have Kaguya, who's canonically a planet buster. Then you realize nothing Sakura really does can affect anything here. And these are the people that she gets compared to throughout the entire series. Obviously they're not at this scale throughout the entire series, but it still proves my point. She's a hill being compared to mountains. Once again, I don't hate this character, but I do acknowledge that she is underutilized, underdeveloped, and should have been handled better. With this flaw in mind, Naruto is still a great series deserving of the legendary status as one of the big 3, but just like any other story, it has its flaws. I'll definitely talk about Naruto again soon, but that's all I've got for today. Subscribe, have a nice day, and I'll catch you later.